Let me share my key to success, happiness, being truly happy with you. It really is just one really critical, important thing that really, in my opinion, is easy to do. So let's talk about that. Let me share it with you.
Live happy, fun-loving, and carefree.
So I'm out here on our homestead today doing our chores. You can hear the guineas squawking there, and probably hear a rooster crow and the dogs barking and that. And we've got a little break in the cold. It's got my jacket unzipped here today. It's a little bit warm, but still no gloves. Well, guinea just flew up in the tree there. And I've been really thinking, with all this insanity and craziness and that's going on in the world today, is how can a person be happy? How can we reduce our stress? What can we do so that you're happy, your family's happy, you're living comfortable, and you're not freaking out at everything that's going on? Shush, quiet. Go on. And and my mind was just mulling over this because of all the things that are going on. You know, we've got inflation, gas prices are going sky high, food prices are going sky high. If the shelves even, if they're not empty, kids are in school, they're remote learning. Last week was remote learning for school, and I think they're remote learning this week. As you know, our kids are grown up with little kids of their own, but so we're not dealing with that particular aspect. But you may be dealing with kids in and out of school, and it's just one thing after another, and then this mandate and that mandate, and no, you can't do that mandate. And now, as if we don't have enough piled up on top of us, is right now we're all wondering if we're going to end up at war, with Russia or something. Because of, they're moving all kinds of military equipment and things, and it's like, golly sakes, how can you be happy, fun-loving, and carefree when all of this is going on? And while I'm out here doing my activities today, and the sun's starting to set, but I wanted to get this made before it got dark here, because I didn't want to wait till tomorrow to share this, is what is the one absolute thing that you can do to control your life? And there's lots of little things that you can do. And to just share what's worked for me, what's worked for us, Mrs. DIY and myself here, is I just think back to the things when we started adjusting our life. And was at the time probably just like you are now. So that's why I know that you can do it, because I'm nobody special, and I was able to do it. Way back about, I'm thinking of the years now, about 18 years ago, I had over $10,000 worth of bills a month. The house, the truck, the car, the hangar for the airplane, all the insurances of everything. When you just piled up my bills, cell phones, we had cell phones back then, smartphones hadn't been invented yet. We actually used them for phones. And I had over $10,000 in bills that I had to pay every month. And that's not even counting then things like, food or clothing or things like, that was like actual checks that I had to write every month. And now we basically have nothing. Our biggest bills today we do have our smartphones, our two phones, and we have satellite television, and we have satellite internet, and then our insurance on the house. We have, homeowners insurance, because I can't afford to build a new house if something happened. So those are kind of, the bills that we have today. We don't have a mortgage. We don't have car payments. We don't have any credit card payments to speak of. Is, we have a debit card that we use in that, because some places, you can't use. I'm still like to use cash for small purchases. So, I'm thinking of that today and how I got to where I am. And what it really, really boils down to, that one key thing that I keep hinting at here, is look at what you're doing in your life as you're doing it. If you're a list maker, that's great. Make out the list. But as you get up in the morning and you make your pot of coffee or your tea or, whatever you do, you have a margarita for breakfast, whatever it is. And as you get ready for your, for your work, if you go to work or if you're going to school, if you're, young and still at home with your parents, if you're retired or whatever, but look at every single thing you do during the day. And then as you're paying for things, as you're doing your monthly bills and all of that, evaluate that one thing and then say to yourself, is this activity, is this thing that I'm doing right now moving me closer to my goal of where I want to be? Is it making me happy? And if that activity, whatever it is making you happy, because you're going to be different than me. The thing, I'm not telling you to live your life the way that I've lived my life and the way I'm living my life. We're all different. If you want to drive a Mercedes-Benz, and I owned one for a while, they're really nice cars. If that's what you want, that's fine. If you want to own an airplane, if you want to be on a sailboat, we lived on the sailboat for 9 years. Whatever it is that makes you happy, that's fine. But evaluate that activity that you're doing right now, and if it is making you happy, do more of that. If you're doing something during the day, if you look in the mirror and you say to yourself, why in the heck am I doing XYZ? I don't understand why. It's stressing me out. It's not leading to my happiness. Then do less of that. And do that every day. Do a little bit more of the things that are making you happy. That's the key. More of the things that are making you happy. Do less and less of the things that aren't making you happy, that aren't getting you to where you want to go. And that's the key. When we started doing it, back when I'm talking about here, when we were getting rid of all of our debt and everything, 18 years ago, is we set 6 months. I actually went to the calendar. Back then we had the calendars that hang on the wall where you've got the pretty picture at the top and you've got the 30 days or 31 days or 28 days for February. You got your calendar and you've got a big square on the calendar, and then you flip it up for the next month. I actually went out 6 months and put a big X on the calendar and said, we're going to be where we want to be in exactly 6 months. And then we just weeded out the things that weren't making us happy, that were stressing us out, and got us to where we want to be. Because, again, this crazy world, what are you going to do if gasoline doubles in price? We drive way less than 1,000 miles a month. We use about 40 gallons, maybe, of gasoline a month. Our car gets about 25 miles to the gallon or so. So if we drive about 1,000 miles, that's about 40 gallons of gas. So if the price goes up quite a bit, I'm not going to enjoy paying it, but it's not going to hurt us. And we can drive less. We could, combine trips and say, well, we're just not going to town this week or whatever. Food, we all have to eat. We have chickens and guineas, and we have a garden, and we could certainly limit and go to beans and rice and things. So we could lower our food budget to almost nothing for the two of us. Obviously your situation is going to be whatever works for you. Another example is I installed a propane furnace in the house, and we heat with propane and we heat with firewood that I get from our own property here. I cut down the trees and with the chainsaw and cut them up and split them and stack them and burn the firewood. So we have propane, and we burn about, well, for what it's worth, we burn about 130 gallons of propane a year, and it costs us right around ballpark, let's say $300. It's been like maybe $275, and this past year it was like $310 or $315. If propane goes crazy expensive and it's hard to purchase it, like what happens if the price doubles? I don't have to burn propane. We don't have to burn propane in our house. I could burn more firewood and less propane. The main reason I use the propane is convenience. I don't have to get up in the middle of the night and put, wood into the fireplace. I don't want to set the alarm for 2:30 in the morning, so I, have to stoke up the fire kind of thing. And, we could drop the satellite television if we had to and things. So we could live on almost no cash, no money a month. We're going to have to pay our property taxes, which aren't that high here where we live. We're going to have to keep paying our insurance because you never know. I can't replace a house, so I need to pay for our homeowner's insurance. And because otherwise that would be stressful to me to not pay it. So paying it actually is a happiness factor for me. So what makes you truly happy? Control your life, the things that you can control, and try to eliminate as much of the stuff that you can't control out of the decision process of what you're doing. The old you can't control the weather kind of thing. You just make do with what it is. Or our favorite sailing quote is, I can't control the direction of the wind, but I can adjust my sails to get to where I want to go. So focus. If you want to be truly happy, if you want to be in control of your life, happiness is the key, is doing more and more of what makes you happy every day and do less and less of what doesn't make you happy, what is making you unhappy. And that, in my opinion, is the key to living happy, fun-loving, and carefree in this insane, ridiculous world of now we have inflation, and now the store shelves are empty, and now we're going to war with Russia, and on and on and on and on. I hope my thoughts work for you too.